Hello and welcome back to our overview of the Base on Board, our baseball board game. So we'll explore more of the strategic card plays for the offense and focus on situations like balks, hit by pitches, wild pitches, and bunts. Because mastering these cards is really the key to outsmarting your opponents. So just keep that in mind that these offense cards, while they may seem like there's a lot, there's really a lot of play that you'll get used to over the course of learning the game as well as experiencing the game, and it'll become a little more natural as you play them more. And if you know baseball, and then as you learn more of the baseball rules, it'll really come into play where you can get that additional experience to know when to present these cards to take advantage of that situation. So, as a reminder, at the start of each half inning, the offensive player is holding 4 offense cards. Just keep that in mind. That's how you'll begin the play. And when you draw from that shuffled pack, you randomly assign 4 cards. But for the purpose of this explanation, I will give you specific cards just to show. So I've pre-grabbed some of the cards that I'll be talking about in this video. And so when you're at bat, what do? One of the things you can do is reacting to the pitch itself, right? So this phase happens immediately after the pitch is thrown. The defensive player has just rolled the white pitch die, and then before any other action is taken, the offensive player must check their hand for the cards that they can play, right? So one example is balk. So balk is an illegal motion by the pitcher. I know it's a little more complicated, and I know there's a lot to know about balk, but in this game, you can use this balk card to capitalize on a mistake, that they have made. So when do you play this? You can play this card after any result on the white pitch die, ball, strike, or contact, as long as there is at least one runner on base. So let's say there's a runner on base, and the balk card takes priority over the die roll itself. So as a result of presenting this card, all runners on base advance 1 base. A runner on third scores. The batter's count does not change, and play continues with the same batter. This is a really nice card. This is a rare card, so a powerful tool for advancing runners into scoring positions without any risk, as long as you have players on bases. So that's a balk card. Another card that we'll talk about is hit by pitch. This card presents the opportunity for batter being struck by the pitch itself, right? So this card can only be played when the white pitch die result is a ball. So obviously, if it's a strike, it didn't, hit the player itself, right? So the batter is awarded the first base. So you can proceed to the first base, and this may force other runners to advance. So, for example, if there was a runner on first, the runner moves to second. If the bases were loaded, the runner from third is forced home, scoring a run, right? So, hit by pitch. Then there's the wild pitch, and this is a pitch that gets away from the catcher, allowing runners to advance. So, when can you play hit by pitch? This card can only be played when the white pitch die results in a ball, once again, because if it's a strike, right? And all runners advance 1 base. However, uh, unlike some of the other cards, hit by pitch, the batter is not affected. So they remain at the plate, and the ball is simply added to count. And then if it was the fourth ball, for example, batter just walks. But the wild pitch action still applies. So just keep that in mind. There's that card. Now, another phase of these offensive card play would be declaring a bunt on contact. So this phase occurs when the defense's pitch roll results in contact. So let's say contact comes out, and then the offensive player must decide whether to roll the yellow die to progress through the game, or instead play a offensive card in their hand because it presents itself, right? So, for example, sacrifice bunt would be one of those cards. This is a strategic play used to advance runners at the cost of an out, right? It is most effective with fewer than 2 outs, of course. And when do you play this? After the white die shows C, and that declares that you are using, and you just declare you're going to use the sacrifice bunt card instead of rolling the yellow die. So the result would be the batter is out. All runners on bases advance 1 base. For example, with the runner on first and no outs, a successful sacrifice bunt results in 1 out with the runner now on the second. Obviously, this would be better if you did it in other base for scoring positions as well. So just keep that in mind. There's that card. Another card is squeeze play. A squeeze play is a specific type of bunt used when there is a runner on third base and you desperately need to score that run. So play this card on a C result once again, and runner on third is there and fewer than 2 outs. It's all written out here at the bottom. So there are 2 types of squeeze cards reflecting the risk of this play. So one is the standard squeeze, which is the runner from the third scores, but the batter is out. Other runners also advance 1 base, and this is the most common outcome of this play. But then there's the squeeze play all save. This is a very rare card. There's only 1 card in the whole deck. And this represents a perfect bunt, right? The runner from the third scores and the batter reaches the first base safely. No out is recorded. So this is really a game-changing play in some cases. So these are some of the cards that you can play, and this kind of shows you what base on board really combines with the dice play, right? Oftentimes dice are considered luck unless you have that perfect throw, but the dice play is one component. The cards are really what keeps the game a little more challenging and unpredictable. So just keep that in mind, and this is how you can lead your team to victory in Base on Board.